So we're going to do a couple of exercises now, just getting us used to reading traditional notation. It's just using the three notes that we've started off with on the high E string, E, F, and G. And we'll just be using simple crotchets for this one, which means it's not going to be the most interesting sounding piece of music, but that's the idea here, is for us to get used to just moving between them. So for any song or exercise that we take on, before we play any notes, we kind of need to have a rough idea of the tempo, how fast we want these beats to come at us. You know, do we want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, that sort of thing. Now, as we start off, obviously we want it just slow, so the aim is to try to keep the lengths of those notes equal to each other. You know, so if there's two crotchets next to each other, we don't want it to be 1, 2, you know, onto the next. We want it to be nice and even, 1, 2. So it means that we've got to be sort of thinking ahead to what the next note is, being ready to move those fingers and reposition things, and obviously pluck the note at the right time. So setting a tempo for exercise 1, I'm not going to record a click track or a metronome. I'm just going to sort of have a rough guess. Maybe before I start playing, I'm just 1, 2, 3. It sounds like this. So it can be handy to have a click track to try to challenge yourself, start at a particular tempo and see if you can gradually get faster. Of course, if you can play a piece of music faster than you need to, then that's one way to really get it dialed in and be nailing every note. But for now, I'm just going to set a very slow tempo before I play anything. So something like 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to start learning more of the notes that exist down here in first position. First position meaning that our first finger is just hovering over the first fret. That would be second position, that would be third, etc. So obviously now as we move on to the B string, there's going to be a B note, the open string. The next note in the alphabet would be C, and this in here it is on the first fret. We don't want to play the second fret because that would be C sharp, so we just use D. So they're in the same spots as the notes were on the high E string, E, F, and G. Now we've got B, C, and D. So we'll do a little exercise that's making use of those three notes. Here we go. We've got to move on. When we learn the note on the G string, we've actually only got two notes that are there in the first position. Obviously one of them is the open string. The only other one is an A note, which is on the second fret. So we'd make sure we use the second finger to play that one. So that means the notes that we know so far would be G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Should we bother playing a little exercise that's only going to make use of the two notes, the G and the A? No, let's skip it. So now those exercises are easy enough, knowing that there's going to be the three notes that we were doing on the high E string or the notes on the B string. Again, we've got a 1 in 3 chance of landing on the right note. But as soon as we start to put together a piece of music that's using all three of these strings, straight away something like that looks a bit daunting. But if we just go through note by note here, and it's like, what is that first note? Okay, if we need to go back to our every good. Okay, so it's G, G, and there's another G. Okay, now the next note, every good boy D deserves. Okay. All right, so now what is that song we're playing? If I play all those notes in sequence, all the thrash metal heads are going to know this one straight away. You might have thought that was Twinkle Twinkle, but I was just playing the alphabet ABCDs. Yeah. Now let's have a look at Beethoven's Ode to Joy. So many guitar books that I've seen and music books for other instruments as well seem to have this song pretty early on, probably because there'll be no copyright issues there, and also it's just a nice simple song that's in the key of C major, and we don't have any sharps or flats to contend with. It's a well-known tune, so it'll be obvious to us, hopefully, if we play any wrong notes. And we'll start off with the tempo a little bit slower than the well-known version. What are we at? We're going to go at 70 beats per minute. 2, 3, 4. So obviously there's more to the song than that, but just that little section is a good amount for now for us to really get used to what that would look like in a notation. So the well-known version would be closer to this tempo. I've got this at about 106 beats per minute now.